Hello there, welcome to We Are Crafted in His Image. I'm here today with the last project in our Seasonal Branches Coco and Crafts class. It is this card here, and yes, our packet says number 2. That's because this was originally supposed to be our second project. However, I had neglected to include the mask in the kit that is needed, and so I have set these out separately, and hopefully you should have all received yours by now. So we just moved this project to the last so that you would all have your mask in time. When I put these kits together, I try to make sure there's everything included that you need other than your basic adhesive and your basic tools. And obviously this particular die is not included in the kit, so I wanted to make sure you had it. Now, if you are making this project and you don't have this die, you don't have my kit, you can easily just pick a pretty frame that you have and cut that out, even if it's a circle, an oval, whatever you want to do, just so that our birds here, our little things here have just kind of something to ground them in the center of the card. Does that make sense? So to make this one though, I did use this die right here in the Something Fancy Dies set. That's the one I used, the largest of them in that set. So let me move that aside, move that for later, and let's see what is in the kit. We have our card bases, and again, I'm only going to do one card on camera. While you're doing yours, you do both of them at the same time. We have 2 envelopes. One of them has some die cuts in it. There should be 4 leaves. I'm going to grab 2 out. And there should be 4 birds. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 4th one is in there. So I'm going to set that one. Actually, I'm going to move that over there and put this on this side. And then there should be... Are you serious? So apparently I did actually cut this out for you and forgot that I did and assumed, because I'd already mailed them out, that I hadn't. Okay, so you should have 2 of these now. However, this one feels like it's made with just regular printer paper. This one is made with cardstock, cheap cardstock, but it's a little bit thicker, so this one might be easier to use. But now you have 2 of them. Okay. I can't, yeah, I can believe I did that. I totally can believe that I did that. So anyway, you should also have 1, 2, 3, 4 white panels you need inside and outside for each of your cards, because it says Sending an Abundance of Love. So I'm going to go ahead and set those aside, and let's get started with our front piece and our mask. Now, one thing I did realize is I should have actually trimmed this mask down. I want it to be the exact same size of this, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So one of 2 ways you can do it. You can either set this on here and tape it right there, like center it so I can tell that it's pretty much centered on there, and then tape it to it so it doesn't move, it doesn't shift. Otherwise, you could trim off 1/16 of an inch all the way around the edge of this. So let me grab my trimmer, and 1/16 isn't super easy to see on here. I'm not even sure if I can see it on here. So what I'm actually going to do is go from this side. Usually I go over here and measure, but this should be 4 1/4, and I want it to end up being 4 altogether. But you want this to remain in the center. So I'm going to go over, actually there, right there. That's 1/8 of an inch, not 1/16 of an inch. 4 1/4. Yes, so 1/8 of an inch is where you want to go on here. So let me trim this off. And actually, I'm going to double check this to make sure I am correct. That should be 4, yep. Yep. And then you also want to do the other 2 sides as well, which this is at 5 1/2, so I'm going to go, I'm looking on this side right here. So it's kind of hard to measure on that side there. There's not really a good measurement. And then 5 1/4. There we go. And again, you could have easily have done it by, whoops, where's my other one? Simply putting your panel on here and put a little piece of tape there to hold it still, while you do your blending. But this way, yes, we're good. I'm going to pull in another piece of paper here because I'm going to tape this down and I don't want to mess up my back piece here. So I'm going to actually take this and I'm just going to take regular tape and I'm going to tape 2 sides of it like that. And then I'm just going to slide this underneath here. This is why I like it being the exact same size as my panel, because I slide in there and then it's pretty easy to make sure it's in where it's supposed to be. This is Boho Blue, and I'm going to use one of our blending brushes. Tap off here so I don't get chunky, what do you call it, rough areas. My brain's not working today. You want it soft and smooth. That's the word I'm looking for. You don't want streaks. Streaks. That's the word. Now I'm trying to make sure that most of the color is on the outside edge, and there's just a little bit, it just kind of gets lighter and goes to the middle. We're going to have it completely blue, but you want it to be lighter in the middle and then deep and darker on the outside edge. I think I want more over here. That is my dog. He is sick. He's a much older dog and he's been doing a lot of coughing lately, and yeah, he's not doing so hot. There we go. So then, this is the magic part. I love when I take this off. Now we have this pretty center to kind of ground our design. I'm just going to leave this here so when I do my second card I can just slide that right in there. So move that out of the way though. And this piece is ready to go. Now we're going to go ahead and start doing some stamping. And oh, I just dropped stuff on the floor. First thing I want to stamp on here are my branches, and the stamp set actually has 2 branches in there. We've used the long one several times, but it also has a small one. But as far as the long one goes, I know that I've said this in the last 3 videos, but in case somebody is new, this is their first time watching, when you go to put this particular stamp on, on the block, whoops, I need a bigger block. You don't want to put it on in this direction like this. And the reason being, sorry, all my blocks just fell over, is there is a chance that you might accidentally kind of bend it a little bit, and then when you go to do the leaves and stamp the leaves on there, they're not going to line up properly. So the best way to put this one on is to actually turn it over, let it come to its natural shape, and then set your block down on it. And that way, when you put the leaves on, it should line up really, really well for you. So there we have both of those. And I'm going to ink up my stamp, the big one first. And I'm going to actually stamp it basically right along this bottom section here. Right along there. I'm trying to make sure I have some space here to stamp the Sending an Abundance of part. And then let me get my stamp cleaned off. Whoops, shaking my whole table there. And now we're going to go ahead and ink up this little branch, and it's going to come up over here, maybe like that. There we go. Alright, so those are clean. Then while I have the brown on, I am going to go and do the Sending an Abundance of, and stamp that up here. And then on my other panel, I do believe, yep, I put the word love in this brown, in the early espresso, right about there. And now that one can get put away, and now I'm going to pull out Garden Green. Actually, before they do that, I want to do the bird because I want to give it a minute to dry before I do my watercolor pencils on it. So let me get out my 2 bird pieces, and then to do this, you can do this with just 1 bird on here. It will look just fine with just 1 bird. I would move it over a little bit further so it's right here. So if you do not have this mat, or any other type of silicone mat. You don't have to do both of the birds. But if you wanted two birds and you wanted them facing a different direction, I'm going to show you a way to do the reverse image of the bird. And that uses a silicone mat. And the mat, you could stamp on pretty much anything slick. The problem is some of the things that are so slick, the ink will want to bead up on it. And for this mat, though, it doesn't do that. It actually keeps its image pretty nicely. So to do the reverse image, what I'm going to do basically, I'm just going to ink up my stamp. Make sure I've got some ink on there. I'm going to stamp my bird directly on the silicone. And then I'm going to take my die cut and I'm going to set it on top of that image. And then I'm just going to rub my finger over the whole thing. And it's just going to pick up that ink from the mat. And there we have the bird in the reverse image. Although I think I should have inked a little bit harder. Let me go ahead, and I have extra bird cutouts. So if you want to try this first on scrap paper, if you have the dies, do it on some scrap paper and then just die cut it out. It's so much easier than trying to do it with the die itself. But I want to see if I can get a better image. I know I got a better image because I have one on my card. But I'm gonna experiment here. Let's see if I'm always telling you don't push really hard with the bird, and I didn't push very hard here, but I probably should have, so that it would get a better image because it's going to come up onto there. So let's try that again. Press down. Could also be that I didn't press very hard either and get it all on, because some of it I can still see on here. Okay, ready? Come up there, don't smear though. Oh, much better, much better, much better, much better. So I suggest you practice on some scrap paper before you do it. I messed that up. Before you do it on your die cut. And then, but yeah, that's a way to get the reverse image. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp. I need this so I can see the outline. Stamp my regular bird. And now for this bird, I know not to push very hard. So put it down, but don't push hard. And then you get a better image on that bird. Push hard on here, don't push hard on here. So let me, excuse me, go ahead and clean this up. And I got ink on my background already. I just put this fresh one out here. And I do need to clean that off. I have stuff everywhere. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and let them dry. And while they're drying, let's stamp our leaves. Pull out the garden green. And these are pretty simple to line up if they're already die cut. I apologize if I keep getting my head in your way. There's one, and here is the other one. Ta-da! Alright, and then the last thing we're going to stamp is on this inside piece right here. I'm going to go ahead and stamp a little leaf right by the word love. You can even put one on each side if you want. I just did the one. And then I think on my envelope, I'm going to do what I mentioned in the last video. I'm just going to put one right up here where I would write my return address. So it'd be right next to that. And there we have that part. I think that is all my stamping. Let me go ahead and color the bird. I'm going to pause the video and see if I can't zoom in so you can see the coloring a little bit better. And then, yeah, we'll see how that works. So apparently that didn't work. I can zoom in, but it won't let me record. It's the program that I'm using with my camera. It will let me zoom in, but won't let me do it while it's recording. So I apologize. I will try to keep my hands out of your way though so you can see. I am going to make my birds. Of course I'm going to go with bluebirds again because we've got that blue in the background. So let's just color the whole bird in with some blue. Or at least his feathers part, his outer feathers. His belly we're going to do different. His or her, I don't know. We have a couple here. We have a boy and a girl. I don't know which is which. Color them in. I do love using the watercolor pencils when it comes to this tiny detail work like this. I just think it's easier to get in there, and then it's so easy to blend out. So there's that. And then let's grab my usual, the crushed curry for the belly. And put a little on his beak, her beak. Color these in a little bit. And I might even come in with a little bit of the Cajun Craze, just the very, very bottom of the belly. Give it that little bit of shadowy color. And then of course I need my blenders. And start with this yellow, blend it out. This goes so quickly. Blend it up. Find my blue one. There is my blue one. Yes. And color that in. Just blends those colors, makes them a little more intense. Ta-da! And I'm not going to worry about in between the legs. I'm not even going to cut the white around this bird because it is on a more white background. It doesn't show as much. So let's go ahead and assemble our card. I need my card base here. Let's go ahead and get it folded. Grab a bone folder and crease that really well. Grab my adhesive. We're going to put the inside panel in. There we go. Oh. So I'm almost done with my blackberry picking. So hopefully soon I won't have all these blackberry stains all over my hands. Maybe. I feel like they've just been looking so gross for so long. But the blackberries are so yummy, I can't like not go pick. Alright, so let's do our, make sure I have it in the right spot. Yep, this is the front. Have you ever glued your thing on upside down or backwards? I have. Alright, now one of these full panels is going to go right here. So we're going to go ahead and just glue that one straight down. There we go. Try to line those up a little bit, and then while that's sitting there, I'm gonna grab this block and set that on there so it can dry. Put two of them on, and while that's doing that, I'm gonna grab my paper snips real quick, and let's just cut this one here into some smaller sections. So we have, ooh, I have ink everywhere. This one's easy to separate right there. And then this one separates easily enough. Sometimes when you do that, you gotta trim these little extra pieces off. This one definitely comes apart easily. Well, let's see what we have here that look like, oh, there's a section there that we can separate. There's a couple where the leaves actually overlap, so it's harder to separate them without it being obvious that you separated them. There we go. So let me trim off the excess here. And there's a little bit on this one, I think. Oh, I see one on that other one over there too. This one. There we go. I think that should do us. So now let's go and figure out exactly where we want these to go. I'm going to put some of these, actually this one looks like it needs to be separated in order for it to go on any of these. There. So this set here can go, ooh, that looks good right there. It's like it was meant to go there. And then we'll put a triple one, and then maybe that one. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so these two I'm going to put down flat. This one as well. Come here, turn around. There we go. And then some of the others I'm going to put up on dimensionals. So let's just pop these all around, turn them all over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you don't have to use the dimensionals. You could glue them all straight down, but obviously the dimensionals are going to give it some dimension. So that one's going to go, come here, there we go, right here. And then we have, oh, let's figure out where our birds are going to go. I need 2 more dimensionals, 1 for each of my birds. And I'm just kind of shaping the birds a little, just giving them a little bit of, so they're not flat, curving them a little. I'm going to put the dimensional up at the top of the bird and then grab my glue dots for their feet. And let's see, I think this bird here, he's going to be on this branch. And then she is going to go, oh, that didn't work. Actually peeled my cardstock off there. There we go. And then she's going to go over here. They're just having a conversation. Alright, now the other ones, let's kind of lay them out and figure out where I want. I think I want one by her feet. And then we'll do one here, one over here, and then we'll do a third one up in here somewhere. So go ahead and take off the backings. We're just going to really fill in our branches with all of these leaves. Kind of covers up her feet there. That one and one more. Whoop, ooh, don't stick there. And there we have our finished card. That wasn't too difficult to do. You get to do a little bit of mirror stamping, learn how to do it, get a mirror image. Well, I hope you enjoyed this project, and let me find, oh, there it is, there it is. I hope you enjoyed this and this month's class, and I will be back soon with our next class as well and with some other videos. So until next time, God's love and blessings to you. Bye!